Hello, friend, and thank you for joining us here at the Afterbuzz TV Mr. Robot After Show. We're going to talk about Darlene, Cisco, the Teabagger, whose name is Vincent, Elliot, Mr. Robot, Joanna, is Tyrell dead or alive? All of that and more. It's here. It's next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, Afterbuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, yeah. Just get in nice and low.
My heart is still beating incredibly fast since last night because of this damn song by Daft Punk, which is awesome.
And this episode.
Yes.
It's a good combination.
Are you kidding me? The last 10 minutes, best 10 minutes I've seen in...
The last hour of the episode, I was in my screen like, ah!
How about the last season and a half?
Yeah, I know, right?
This show, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. We are here to talk about Season 2, Episode 10. And there will be 2 more.
They extended it a week as well.
Yes,
The almost penultimate episode. The pre-penultimate, the penultimate to the penultimate episode.
Good job. Word of the day. Penultimate, yes.
I'm going to be joining you in the chat room, as always, but I'm not alone.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Ashley. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Ashley_Chatman. I'm so excited to talk about this episode, so let's get into it. Yeah.
You know, I'm not excited.
Not at all. He's never excited.
I'm elated.
Ever.
Are you kidding me? First off, a quick shout out to all the fans that are on the chat roll. You guys watching us live over on youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. TV. Welcome. And we have a very special show tonight. We have a special guest that will be calling in about 15 minutes. If you're fans, if you've seen JFK or if you've not, you can call him Mr. X. We'll call him Mr. Sutherland. We have Jeremy Holm coming up on the line in the first few minutes. But first, let's talk about the show, what we just saw.
Yes.
Oh, this so good.
Incredible. Yeah, this is, and I know we probably say this every single week, but this was one of my favorite episodes. Just ominous, a lot of great information, but then not enough information, more questions, and just I love the cliffhangers at the end that just sort of leave you on your seat. Like, wait, no, this can't be the end. I'm always looking at my clock, like it's 5 minutes left. What's gonna happen? What's going on?
You're totally bringing up a perfect point to this. Just how the plot's moving. We're moving forward. I think the first few episodes, a lot of people are complaining, and I'm not one of them. I actually love the character-driven the first half of the season where we were diving deep inside of Elliot's psyche, and people are saying, well, the episodes are so long, and I think we needed this. I think the payoff for this is gonna be in seasons 3, 4, possibly 5. You know, I think this is the meat and potatoes.
Well, yeah, and the whole point is the string along. Like, if we're all happily being strung along, they're doing their job. Because they're revealing enough, we're living in these characters, it's not too plotty, it's not too anything. It's just right, this show.
Just right.
I actually wish, for me, I like the longer episodes. That's just me. Because last night's was the shortest episode of the season, but it was tight.
But I like that from go, this show, and that includes the USA Network, giving them however much they need. Like, this show feels like an HBO show or a Netflix show in the sense that they had a really good creator and said, go create. Do what do you need a 90s Bud Light commercial? Got you. You need 65 minutes?
Yes.
I think we can get a sponsor.
Right.
I think we can get a sponsor that can supplement you so you don't have to worry about how long you're running. And that's so helpful for a show. To see a show like this on basic cable.
Yes.
Like, other than Breaking Bad, like, there are a few examples of just, like, somebody getting such free reign.
Yeah. But then doing a really good job at it
too.
You know, you can get free reign, but for you to have it, like you guys have been saying, so tight. A lot of people in the chat agree. They thought this was a great episode. It was well paced. And so for him to be hitting it on the nail so many times, that's just incredible. Thumbs up to Sam Esmail.
I can't wait. Let's get it. I can't. Let's dive in.
So let's do this. Darlene, Cisco, we ended on a cliffhanger last week. Somebody was knocking on Darlene's door.
Knocking on the door.
It was Vincent.
Cisco and Vincent.
Yes. Cisco and Vincent, because he found Vincent, and Vincent looked pretty messed up.
Yeah. And
we already know Darlene's a killer, but Cisco doesn't know this yet. Although he got hit in the he got hit with a bat. Like he. It's
Right.
not like
Well, no, he does know that because of Susan Jacobs, and now.
But he doesn't quite know
what
the
went
extent
down.
of
that she, premeditated it. She tried to make it seem like it was.
Darlene hasn't told anyone about Susan Jacobs yet. That it's I untied her.
But I think they suspect it. Like I think they're not stupid, and I think
No,
there's suspicions, but they don't know for sure.
They don't know for sure, but she's stone cold. Yeah. She is straight up like, he knows my face. He knows my name. He was involved in too much. You can see it in her face. Like, it's so cold. It's like, we should just let him die.
Yeah.
I don't know if I necessarily fully agree with that. The way I see it, because I think she's, Cisco said it himself, she's in over her head. She's not a leader, you know, and she even said it in the episode, how it's ultimately always been about Elliot.
Yeah.
And I think she was just trying to fill in while Elliot was away.
Yeah.
And she got over her head. The thing with Susan Jacobs, that was an isolated incident because of the history. When she was 4, she saw this. The rest of the stuff, she started going that way, but then Cisco checked her on it. Yeah. And it reminded her who she really is.
But I think that's kind of what I mean too. That without Cisco, her unchecked, she's a stone cold killer. With Cisco, she can at least okay, let's try to bring him to a hospital or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But I think it also has to just do with the fact that, this is kind of all falling on her plate, and she's had to handle this ideally by herself, for this for the last couple of, pretty much this entire season since before Elliot got out of jail. So I think that she kind of feels responsible. Like I think it was maybe the first or second episode where they had the party and she kind of came in and did that really, powerful speech about
speech.
We're not done yet and we still have a lot to do. Like I think she's still in that place of like, we got to keep moving. We have to keep going, and we can't allow there to be any loose ends. And with them knowing that the FBI is so close on their tail, I think that every little detail, they have to clear up their tracks. They're good at, scrubbing and wiping down everything. So I think that they're now starting to apply that more to real life with actual people. So I think it's just a part of being caught up in this huge, controversy and them just trying to catch it up.
To back it out to the macro of everything, who do we think was beating down Vincent?
That was my question. That's my biggest question.
Do we think they're the same? And do we think they're the same people that killed
Romero?
Do you think they're the same people who killed Romero? They're the same people who shot up the FBI in China? Do we think they're the same people at Lucy's Diner?
Who's they? The fact that you're saying that, is that all connected to one group, possibly like the Dark Army, maybe?
I'm thinking, but that's what I'm thinking, that if...
But it just seems weird, because he seemed like such, like a very unimportant character in some ways.
No, it was sorry for interrupting. The reason being is because they got popped by was it the feds that popped? Vincent was with 2 other people after the DC incident, and the 2 people got captured. Vincent got away, and the Dark Army, if it is the Dark Army, they're about wiping away,
any
little loose end. So, but I want to know, if it was them, what exactly did they do to him?
Yeah, and why did they just...
I know that's a weird...
It looks... They were talking about it was internal bleeding.
Yeah.
So it looks like they, to get internal bleeding like they portrayed on his midsection, he either was in a car accident or they straight up strapped him up and were just, torturing him.
Or maybe he just sustained those injuries himself, like if he was in a car accident.
Or maybe
running away from it. Because I don't think, if it was Dark Army, just as vicious and callous as they are, I don't think that they would just, beat him up and then let him go. Like, he would be dead.
So he would have, if they had him captive, they would have had him captive. They would have beat him up, and then he would have run away. But how far could he have gotten? I don't know.
But I just feel like beating him up, it's a lot of work for them. Like, they are just about getting rid of it really quick. So killing them straight off the bat. That would have been, I think, their initial approach. So, but it could very well be.
Well,
the fans agree.
I agree that the people who killed Romero and then shot up this diner and shot up the FBI are probably all the same people, and then the people who were beating up Vincent before that probably aren't.
Right.
Oh.
Because you guys are right. The MO is different, but there's something afoot that's literally systematically taking down F society, and we're not even sure if Elliot is somehow behind it.
The fans, that's what they're saying. They're just they believe it's a dark army, and they're trying to isolate, eliminate all of F society to isolate Elliot. But then, Elliot's behind.
Yeah,
stage
but if
two.
Elliot is behind phase 2, I think this is part of phase 2, and Mr. Robot was like, no, let's start killing people. And then Elliot's just not ready. Elliot's not ready to see that part of his plan or that part of his psyche. That part of him, like, who's in there.
Yeah, my brain is about to explode. So many good theories.
But it's the idea that, like, he's, like, there's such an evil person inside of him that I think Darlene is has been egging on for quite some time.
Right.
That he's created Mr. Robot to be him. So that whenever he needs to get his hands dirty, Mr. Robot can do it. And not only can Mr. Robot do it, but Elliot can literally have no knowledge of it.
And can I say something else? I know we're talking about what's happening. I grew to really actually enjoy Cisco this episode most of all. Yeah. For me, Cisco and Michael Dre, I enjoy his acting and but the character itself, I always thought it was kind of like a fringe guy, but he was coming to more and more prominence. And last night I was like, I love him. I loved what Cisco brought out of Darlene. I always was just on the fence with him. And then last night, what I saw, and of course, and Esmail's way of doing it. Of course, this has to possibly happen. We don't know what happened to Cisco, and it's of course the day I fall in love with the character.
Yeah, that's probably.
That's why.
That probably lets you know right there. What
Actually,
the
Tor 101. Tor 101 in the chat has a great theory, which is Dark Army planted something in Vincent to track him to the hospital. So that the Dark Army can find Darlene and Cisco.
That's a great theory. I mean, they're the Dark Army.
That's a great theory. Or because the APB went out about Cisco.
Yeah.
They didn't actually care about Cisco till his face was on the news, and then nope, now we have to kill him.
Right.
And they're Dark Army. They can track.
Yeah, that too. The Dark Army.
But the great theory.
Do we want to move into Elliot? Sure. Robot, Joanna.
In and out of Elliot. Yes.
Absolutely.
All the things. With this.
Talk about perfect timing.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect timing. Now I gotta talk about this guy because he is a dream. I've been talking to him just the last couple days, and usually you see him as a big bad heavy, and whenever he enters a scene, things are about to hit the fan. But honestly, from House of Cards, from The Americans, The Judge, and of course being the Wellick's right-hand man. Ladies and gentlemen, AfterBuzz TV Nation, put your hands together for the one, the only, Jeremy Holm.
He's here.
Man, you're way too kind.
Son of a car salesman, son of a car salesman. What is up, my friend?
Listen, you guys look great, and I'm a bee lover, and your microphones remind me of bees. And you guys have all the honey on this show. It's incredible. I love listening to it.
That's our new tagline. Mr. Robot AfterBuzz, we got all
for an
the
interview.
honey.
This is usually our job. You're buttering us up. This is awesome.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so happy to have you on the call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, what a show last night, huh? When we're performing it, we never really know what we're going to get, what we're going to see.
Yeah.
And the way they edited last night's show versus how it was written, it was just incredible.
Oh, interesting.
Those guys, Cora Donna, who wrote most of that episode, and Sam, they hit it out of the park. I was blown away last night.
Is it different? Like you said, you just brought up that Cora Donna, he was the writer on the episode this week. Is there a big difference? I'm sure the whole season's been fantastic, but with having Cora step in, is that the first episode he's written?
I know he's been involved the whole time, and his primary task is to make sure that all of the hacking sequences are plausible, probable, and that the coding looks right. So he's there, 18 hours a day, every day. He makes sure all the code that you see on the screens looks right. He researches the hacks, and he makes sure that they're actually plausible hacks. Mm-hmm. But then also he got to, write this episode, and he was amazing. The day I shot the scene that you see in Elliot's apartment,
mm-hmm.
the script supervisor called me and said, "Hey, I'm so sorry, I forgot this page of dialogue that you have." And in the episode, you don't really hear the dialogue because you see that strange camera angle pan out and away.
Mm-hmm.
But because the writing was so good, it just all like sunk in my adult brain, pretty easily. It was amazing.
Wow, and I've heard about it. I don't know if I read about that. The fact that you only get to see do you get to see everything that's going on the show, or are you just reading your parts?
Well, Sam's pretty clever. So what he does is the whole season is written, all 10. Well, it was 10 episodes, and the cast gets together, and most shows don't do this. We read all 10 episodes. But what Sam does is he puts in some dummy episodes, and then he rewrites them. So even the cast members don't really know always what's going on.
You sly little devil.
So you're watching it with us, basically.
Yeah.
Have you ever
literally
spotted a dummy episode, or are they really good or his dummy episodes really good?
They're so good you can't tell, and sometimes maybe he just changes his mind or goes in a different direction.
Yeah.
But usually, when you see the actual episode, you have the aha moment. Oh, of course. And he just wants to keep it a secret, and he's really good at it.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit as well, because how it came to be. I mean, I made that joke about you over on Twitter about the guinea pigs on House of Cards and all this. You've always been known to be kind of a heavy, but how did you come into this role of Mr. Sutherland, or Mr. X if you haven't watched JFK?
Well, Sam is a fan of House of Cards, and so when I auditioned for Mr. Sutherland, he looked at my audition tape, which was just one small scene. And, apparently he liked it. And when I shot my first day, he said, don't worry, the part gets bigger. And, for me, it didn't need to get bigger. The pilot was so good.
Mm-hmm.
I was just, it's a blessing to be on such a timely and topical show. And the execution is certainly beyond my artistry. And, I just feel lucky to be on the show.
Yeah.
Well, you called us at the perfect time, because we were actually dissecting. We were starting to get into your scene, the scene with Joanna, Elliot, Mr. Robot, and yourself. So, kind of like walking us through that, that moment. I know you can't give us really what's going on. Like, my first question in a perfect world would be, so what job were you supposed to finish that day? But that's for another time. But no, absolutely no. But talk about like maybe that day of shooting. What did that entail?
Well, here's a really interesting thing about how they shot the show. They cross-boarded. So, for instance, if you're seeing a scene in Elliot's house from episode 1 and then episode 3 and 5 and 6, all of those scenes might be shot on the same day.
Oh, cool.
So, Rami had to really have his game on, because he might have 20 pages of dialogue all to be shot in one day. And the makeup people have to, change his cuts and his bruises for the different days. And the wardrobe people have to have him ready to go. So for me, it was actually pretty simple, because I just, I don't have a huge part in the show. I show up, I do my scene. But working with Stephanie Corneliuson is such a trip, because she speaks 5 languages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's a beautiful woman. She's fiercely intelligent, and she's hilarious. So, then you see her like shift into this cold, indescribable ice goddess. It was just incredible to watch that happen, and to be in the stream with her.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I answered your question.
No, that was great.
You covered it.
No, absolutely. No, now I was going to ask you, now you're talking about, her preparation. What was yours? I mean, because we got to know a little bit about Mr. Sutherland, even though Elliot kind of tuned you out. How do you get ready for a role like this?
Well, the key to him, in my view, is, he has to have a backstory that's plausible, that makes sense for what he's doing. And it's pretty, I can't say too much about it, because I don't want to give anything away.
Sure.
The economy of acting for him, you really have to think about it, because he's like a predator. He has to be very careful. He can't give anything away. He has to be utterly efficient. And, he knows that his biggest nemesis could be Joanna, and yet he is utterly loyal to her and would probably take a bullet for her.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's
so true.
You know,
It's fun.
And we also, fans, we did ask for them to send some questions as well, for our
Bring
guests.
them on.
Definitely.
Beware what you wish for.
But with what's going on in the scene, that now we should also break down what happened, with the meeting and being at Joanna and Tyrell's home and things like that. Steve, take it away. What did we gain anything new there with Elliot and the progression between?
Well, we gained, as the audience, we gained the fact that Elliot thinks, and Mr. Robot is telling him that Tyrell is dead.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely know that Joanna has something, that she knows some things that Elliot does not know. Mm-hmm. And I hope I'm not losing my job right now. No. You sign all these papers.
No.
And you get the feeling that Elliot is wondering what she knows.
Okay.
So she definitely knows something, but she's obviously trying to get her husband back, who obviously she'll kill for, and obviously he would kill for her. So the question is, when does she get him back, and how does she get him back, and what will Elliot do about it? It's a big, hopefully in a couple weeks we'll find out. And to be completely honest with you, I'm not so sure I even know.
I love it.
That question.
I find it funny the way you have to choose your words quite wisely as talking anything to do with the show. I can see that. I can.
Well, I think I told you earlier. Today's my anniversary, so I went out to dinner with my wife tonight, and normally I'd probably have 2 drinks, but I only had 1 drink. And I was telling her, I said,
Smart
I have to
move.
be careful tonight about what I say, because you guys are so seductive. It'd be pretty easy to.
Yeah, we know how to. We're the
He is so
honey.
good.
Yeah,
Come on. No, but we also we had a fan question.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, let's open it up to the fans, because I think this is a great opportunity. You have exclusive, one-on-one with Jeremy Holm, and ask him what it's like to be Mr. Sun, or whatever you want to ask him, because other projects as well. But what do we have on the chat? Do we have any? I had one for you.
The one about the poker face.
Art and Card. Yeah.
Yes, that is the one, and that is from
Art and Card.
Art and Card. Yes. This is Jeremy. How hard is it for you not to show emotion in the show? The poker face is serious and certainly hides your character's thoughts.
Well, the poker face hopefully has something going on underneath it that is muted, and I think that's what I was talking about with the economy of acting. Because I'm a theater guy, and theater actors, they show it all. And so when I started doing film and TV, I had to figure out how to mute that. Yeah. And it's like ice skating. It's like you're acting on ice that's so thin, if you press too hard, you'll fall right through it. And that's kind of how I think of it.
Okay, that's awesome.
There's a quick flip. Now, one thing I was going to ask you, and I'm stealing this from Hacking Robot from last night. If you had the opportunity to play any other character on the show, who would it be?
Wasn't that a great question? It's a great question.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
And who doesn't want to play Mr. Robot? Because and Christian's like the perfect actor and the perfect man to play that role. Because he gets to do everything. He gets to be funny. Yeah. He gets to have these dramatic moments. He gets to do the violence. He gets to do the slapstick. What a great challenge for an actor. And being on set with him, he does it absolutely effortlessly, and he's always in a great mood. His response to anything, a bus could be crashing in, to the set. He'd say, "Oh, it's great. It's great. I believe that. That's great."
I believe it. I believe
fantastic.
it. Okay. My question would be, what was your favorite episode or favorite moment from this season?
From this season?
Yes.
I had 2, and they're both very similar moments. I loved the kiss last night on the subway and the hug that followed it, because it was so genuine And it actually, it made me well up a little bit because you love Elliot and you want him because at his heart he wants to save humanity. And then my other favorite moment, of course, is when Mr. Robot hugs him in the throwback episode.
Yeah, that whole episode I love.
That big deep hug, which was dramatically such an interesting way to build it with the throwback episode, building the comedic tension, and then flipped it over with that hug. It was incredible.
Sam Silex in chat. Does your character want to punch Elliot in the face? It's a straightforward question.
No. I think he's very I think he's intrigued. Sutherland talks about. He had a client who used to masturbate in the car on his way to being the first chair violinist. And I think he's just so interested in all these things that Elliot can do. And, because of his background, which I can't say too much about, he kind of understands it a little bit, and he talks to people who understand it even more. And I think he's genuinely enamored with Elliot. And if you remember, in season 1, he says, "Call us if you ever need anything. We're always close by." And I think that's still true. I think that if Elliot needed something and he called Sutherland, I think Sutherland would show up.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that is fantastic. Now, I know, you can't give us too much, but I did want to ask you, in a couple of words, could you describe what could we be in store for the rest of this season?
Without
giving too much.
Yeah.
What's that?
Gobsmack. And I think because when we were listening to the episode right around the table, I just remember guttural responses around the table, and head slaps, and jaws literally, agape in the room. I'm hoping that the fans will feel the same way and just be thirsting for season 3.
So you guys are all pulling a Christian Slater, because I know he's the one that yells the loudest during the script turn, right?
Well, there was a little competition for who was yelling loudest, and he was definitely one of the people who was just roaring. But I was sitting across the table from him and got put pretty loud in the room. I'll just say that.
He's Mr. Robot. He cannot be animated.
I wanted to ask a lot. I feel like I'm asking so many questions because I love having you here. We're talking about just not the doom and gloom, but just the serious tone of this show. Is there like a lighter moment that you had an experience or, I'm sure I know we had some like a blooper reel last night on the hacking robot, but is there like a little personal story where just everyone, maybe Craig Robinson playing his little Casio keyboard, something like that? Any fun moments that you experience behind the scenes?
Yeah, well, pretty much every day on set you get one or two of those. But in the gag, the blooper reel that they showed last night, the last shot is one where I'm rushing toward the camera. It's the only part of it I was in. But they had the camera at the edge of a staircase going into the basement of this house, and the camera was looking in, to the room at us. And I don't know what happened, but they didn't have the camera braced, and this $70,000 camera started to tip down and fall, and we all lunged for it and caught the camera, before they ended up in the basement.
Sutherland. Yep.
Yeah, but Sam is always busting people. He's always
really?
He's very relaxed on set, and he's always making jokes about how terrible people are. He knows full well that everyone's doing it. Doing a great job.
Awesome.
It's the funnest set I've ever been on.
Wow. That's so good to hear because you would think Sam Esmail, he's got so much responsibility.
Yeah.
He's wearing it seems like all these hats, and he still has time to crack a joke or two and just.
He's just walking around just lightly.
He's chill.
Yeah, it's like the more pressure that's on him, the more relaxed he is. It's kind of miraculous. I don't know how he does it, but he does it.
No, I was gonna say, we hope, and you're one of my favorite parts of the show. There's so many parts of the show that you are absolutely one of my favorite parts, absolutely. But outside of Robot, what else? What else keeps your days busy? I know you've got a lot of projects. I know you have something coming up. I believe you're a film. I believe is it Left Her? I believe.
It's Finding Her.
I'm so sorry.
It's about I play a New York City cop who's, let's just say, he's a touch racist, and he's basically probably the ugliest human being I've ever, played in my life. And it's all about police brutality and, social inequality and the inner city problems that we're seeing played out every day in the news.
Yeah.
You have these police officers who get caught in a system where they end up shooting people that don't deserve to be shot. And then you have people, innocent people, who happen to be black, who happen to live in the inner cities of our country, who are being murdered. And, I have a lot of friends in New York City who are cops. And I have a lot of friends who are black. And so the dialogue in this country we need to talk about it. And I recently asked a friend of mine who's an African-American director. And I said, what do I need? What should my role be in this whole thing? How, can you help me? And he said, no, I can't help you. You, as a white person, need to talk to other white people about it. And, it's a scary thing to talk about it because it's so emotionally fraught with, the power behind the history of slavery in our country and the violence that occurred. And so the film, touches on all of those issues. And I think it's really important that each of us, see our role in that and do the right thing and speak up about it.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that. Absolutely. And most of all, Jeremy, I really want to thank you because what you did. Fans at home, please follow this. Follow this man. Go to his Twitter. He's
blow his Twitter. Blow his Twitter up, please.
Now, what is your Twitter, Jeremy?
It's at Holm Jeremy.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a snowboarder named Jeremy Holm, who's also an awesome guy who lives in Utah, and he got to Twitter before me.
Oh.
So I'm at Holm Jeremy.
Oh, but you'll always have a home here at AfterBuzz. I mean, if you come out to the Gulf Coast, you like how I
you guys are great. Have fun. Enjoy the rest of the season. All right.
And happy anniversary to you and your wife.
Follow him for that reason alone. Thank you so much for just giving us your time tonight. Happy anniversary, and come back again, ladies and gentlemen. Jeremy Holm.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow.
I told you he's like the most awesome guy ever.
How do we follow up with that? It's
I know it's like
a hard act to follow, but we still do have a lot.
We've got a lot to do.
Show to talk about.
I feel like we covered. I just want to point out the Elliot Mr. Robot scene.
Yeah. Where
Elliot and Mr. Robot were both talking to Joanna, and so they're essentially standing next to each other.
Correct.
Loved everything about this. Yeah. Because we get a little more context and kind of sort of the rules of how this can work, at least from our perception, that they're both the same person sometimes. That they're both the same person and they're both capable of just interacting with another person.
Well, I thought it was interesting because for a minute it seemed as if Mr. Robot even felt like he had some limitations within that conversation. He seemed like, wait, are they looking specifically at me? Can I walk this way?
Yeah.
He seemed a little bit more on edge, as if they could actually see him as a separate person outside of Elliot. So I thought that was pretty interesting. That maybe I don't know where they're trying to go with the season. I feel like we've been getting little nuggets of that, where they seem like they're starting to really split and become two, not just him, two people in Elliot's mind, but actual two separate individual people. So. But I love the scene and how even he sort of seemed like he was treading on water a little bit with Mr. Sutherland and Joanna.
But then Joanna gave him that phone. Yeah. Mr. Robot just pieced.
Yeah.
Right, especially when they go to Micro Center and the phone call.
I think. Do we feel like Tyrell's dead and that Mr. Robot did it?
I did an
don't think
official,
he's dead.
unofficial poll on Twitter this past week,
And the verdict is...
I believe it was more in favor of he being alive.
Yeah, I think it'd be more interesting.
But this is my concern, and it shouldn't be a concern because every time I've had a concern with the series, Sam Esmail has answered it and superseded what I was thinking. Because I mean, if he's dead, I mean, I think it'd be a huge letdown. We've waited all season for this.
Yeah.
But if he's alive, there better be some huge twist of explaining it. And somehow I don't know where I land on this. It's like some days I think he's dead. Some days I mostly think he's alive. But it's just that inner battle, and I think I share that. Hopefully, I share that with the fans.
Yeah, same here. I think that they've been really pulling this out the whole season and trying to make it seem like he could possibly still be alive, and it might still be in connection with phase 2. I mean, it's just so many possibilities there. But I think, like you guys said, it'd be more interesting if he was still alive.
I want to take a break from talking about how great this show is to talk about how Emmy-worthy this show is.
Yes.
Because in the history of television, it's never been so funny, so dramatic, or so good. Think about the shows that are on this season. There's House of Cards, Modern Family, Downton Abbey, Game of Thrones, Blackish, Homeland, Better Call Saul, Veep, Transparent, Silicon Valley, Mr. Robot. I don't know if I've heard of that one. Is that I don't know. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I mean, we're really in the golden age of television right now.
Yeah.
The Americans, Transparent, Master of None. On Sunday, September 18th, television's greatest night is the biggest live event of the year. You can watch the show that celebrates great television, the Emmy Awards. There's no better night to watch the best of Face Off and see your favorite shows win. Plus, you can see what everyone's wearing on the red carpet, who looks as hot as they do in real life as they do on their shows. So be there on one of the funniest men on television, Jimmy Kimmel, as he hosts the Emmy Awards live Sunday, September 18th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on ABC.
I can't wait. I really am. I want them to win. So
if
Matt
Mr.
Quayle, what he's done, the writing, Sam Esmail, Rami's performance.
I ask this every time I talk about the Emmys. If Mr. Robot wins an Emmy, we get an AfterBuzz Emmy, right?
That's right. That's the rule.
That's specifically.
That's in the clause.
We share the after award of the award. Angela Elliott kissed.
Yes.
He brought up a great, Jeremy brought up a great moment, and there was so much more gravity in this because of what Elliot's put his friends in peril, and the person he's put in peril the most, I think, is probably Angela. And the care for her, that kiss, is that their first, and maybe could that have been their first kiss and also their last kiss? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there, but just the weight of that scene alone, the tension behind it, the fact that we had posters behind us that were saying
the phase 2 posters were like a little on the nose for this show.
But they've been doing that for the last 2 weeks.
they have been doing that a while, which means if you want to get literal, the literal translation of phase 2 being behind both of them is that this is all part of phase 2, which would mean the people that came and got Angela aren't the FBI, and that they're some branch of whatever's taken down all the loose ends.
That would make sense. That's what
That said,
it felt like, but yeah.
Because she's going against, she's going with what F Society would want to do, but she's going against what the Dark Army wants.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to take down the Washington Township plant that we don't know exactly why, but the Washington Township plant is Dark Army's something.
Yeah.
Well, could be human testing, could be...
And I'm leaning towards that more and more given that scene. I hate to, I know we're pressed for time a little bit, but the scene between Colby and Price, Philip Price. Just the incredible monologue that he gave there, that Price, and that he wanted to be in the same level as God, and the fact that he wanted as God, as a man in his image. And I've been saying it all season. The Colton Mines, the Washington Township, all these have a thread together in the whole master plan of things. And God, I for such those were a couple minutes that first opening scene.
Oh, everything about that. And I like bringing back Colby, and then I loved the honest a-hole that is Colby. Like he's that business professor that teaches like the intermediate level, like after the intro level where it's like, this is business. It's the guy who's like, listen, they're paying me to be here. I'm going to talk to you about some stuff. I don't really care.
No curriculum,
There's no curriculum. You show up. We talk about what's in the Wall Street Journal. We leave.
Now, who is the character that they referred to? I believe it was it Winston? I forgot his name. They spoke about him in the scene. Actually, I think I have it in my notes. It was Winston Campbell, and it was someone that was in Obama's ear.
Yes,
and I just want
because they want it's a bailout, or they want Obama to
annex China from the UN so that
or annex the
Congo from
annex
the
the Congo from the UN so China can pretty much take it over, because
Right.
the second it happens, China will just go in there and take them up.
Yeah.
Some big stuff happened. Like, I love how like they do such a good job with characters in this show. That, like, you're literally talking about China taking over a whole continent, while e-coins and while world economies are failing, and all we can talk about is like Angela and Elliot kissed, guys. They were on a train. What happened to Cisco and Darlene?
But it was such a great. I know, yeah.
That's such a good that we're so worried about these people that there's this like huge, gripping, worldwide catastrophe, and we're like, but
that subway scene, face down.
But Dom though,
Yeah,
like, where is?
Oh, Dom. Yes.
So Dom and the FBI, she finds a sketch of Cisco, or she gets a sketch of Cisco from the burned house, and man,
yeah, she tracks him down.
Did anybody else?
Question.
Yes,
I have a question with Dom. In the whole season, she's got a barrier knocking her head. I hate it. To me, it seems like the FBI is being portrayed as the Keystone Cops, and Dom is the only voice of reason. And Santiago, I even tweeted about it. I call it Santiago the Saboteur. I mean, do we think is Santiago working with Dark Army? Send me all the hate mail y'all want, but it seems to me, because no matter what, at every turn that Dom is making some sort of advance, Santiago just puts the kibosh on it. Putting the bolo out for Cisco, everything with what happened in China at the embassy.
Because we are short for time, and this feels like a prediction.
Okay.
We can get all of our FBI coverage into a quick prediction.
Yes.
Your Afterbuzz TV predictions.
But I will start from the top. Darlene Cisco, alive or dead?
Cisco's dead. I think he got it.
Judging by the gunshots and how brilliantly timed it was,
Yeah.
the crosswalk down to one, and then the gunman sprayed everyone in the restaurant. I think Cisco's done. Darlene is alive, unless they hit a ketchup bottle.
I think Darlene's in the hospital. I think Cisco's dead.
Yeah.
I think Vincent is also he's going to die off screen in between episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I think this was all a big, let's tie up some loose ends. Elliot, is he in charge of these hits? Or Mr.
Robot.
I think is Mr. Robot in charge of these hits, and Elliot, who is also Mr. Robot, doesn't quite understand?
Or could it be a third manifestation, a third personality?
Maybe.
That would. We don't have the time to get into that.
And I will say this: I actually see that Angela's being shuttled off. I think there could be a tie-in with Dom and Angela, perhaps.
Yeah.
And because Dom is the only one that is doing the right things, I believe, and Angela's trying to. Yeah. And I think there might be a partnering, some sort of like maybe a witness protection. Because I was looking at the scene, I went frame by frame. I'm kind of a nerd, and they were shuttling Angela in next week's episode. It's this strange hallway that it looked like there were no faces on the pictures on the wall. It was like a 1970s home. It felt very like she's being shuttled off, and maybe some sort of somewhere she's being protected.
So, moving along, do we think Angela is with the FBI or the Dark Army?
Oh my God.
Or
I'm pleading the fifth.
Miscellaneous.
Maybe Price.
I think she's with the FBI. Anyway, there were a lot of great theories in the chat I can't get into right now. The FBI stuff. Do we think... I'm going to stick to my prediction. I think Dom, after this specifically, is going to turn on the FBI and be like, you know what, F Society's actually doing stuff and it's all this big plot. I think she's going to figure that out because I think Santiago is in on whatever phase 2 was.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I don't have a prediction for that. I'm just gonna go ahead and stick with my Cisco one and keep it safe and
also,
watch
I
for
think
next time.
There still might be credence to my time theory.
Okay.
Not quite the Berenstain theory, but I think I would not be surprised if White Rose was using all the chemicals and all these plants to literally mess with time.
He's been working on it for 20 years right now.
Like for 20 years, he's literally doing like radiology. in an attempt to literally jump through universes or through time. The more we meet White Rose, the more that makes more sense.
Hey, where can we find you, Steve Kaufmann, for that prediction?
If you guys want to send me a picture of a tinfoil hat, you can find me at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann. You can see me right here this Sunday night. I'm covering WWE's Backlash. It is the first brand exclusive pay-per-view of the WWE. It's only SmackDown Superstars.
Nice. Great episode tonight, guys. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, Ashley_Chatman, and where all the honey is. Come back next week.
All that honey up in here.
Honey up in here.
And a huge shout out to our guest today, Jeremy Holm. Thank you so much. You can follow him at Holm Jeremy. You can follow me at JC Rubio TV. So get us out of here, Steven. Steve, come on.
Goodbye, friend.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.